that robots already hit harder than humans and they don't feel fatigue. You fought in one championship, you have bled in the cage. What does it actually feel like to throw a knockout punch through a 100-pound machine made of steel?
Over here I've got a couple of metal plates and screws. Can't feel half of my face very well. The older you get, the more you take a step back and look at it, you realise that maybe it's a bit too much for the human body. But we're also having the human element, which is the pilots jump into the mocap suits and have a match.
They are building the UFC of humanoids.
If we knock the robot's head off, then okay, that robot loses. And you're still going to get the adrenaline rush. You're not going to get the permanent injuries because I'm used to pushing human limits, but with the robots, we don't have to have as much fear with it. We can push them a lot.
Welcome to the Base Show. I am Sahib, your host, and today I have a super exciting guest with us, Peter Davis. If you watch Asian MMA, you have seen him win wars and won championship. If you watch movies, you have seen him on the big screen. But today, we're here to talk about a pioneering venture that he's ventured into. And essentially, it looks like science fiction because what they're doing is they are building the humanoids, the UFC of humanoids, backed by virtual protocol. Peter, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome to the Base Show.
Great to be here. Lovely Saturday afternoon. Just started raining. Perfect weather.
Perfect weather to be recording indoor.
Yes, that's right.
How many jabs have you done this morning?
This morning, approximately none. But later on, I get a little bit of a workout in. Sure.
Is this every day? Is that your regime every day? Or how does that go about on a daily basis for you?
Right now, I'm at my studio, and I think pretty much 6 days a week I'll be here, either teaching classes or just hanging around like a bad smell. So, yeah, I'll get bits of training in, be it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, whatever it is. I'll be doing all of that throughout the week.
Awesome. Peter, your background is fascinating. You fought at the highest level of Asian MMA, and you've been in the arenas of Kuala Lumpur with people chanting your name. But combat sport takes a very heavy toll. Mentally and physically, what happens to a fighter when they realize they can't take damage forever? How hard is it to transition in that cage?
That's the thing. When you do have fights and you're young, it's fun. It's exhilarating. It's an adrenaline rush. You love the crowds. You know, sold out stadium. There's 14,000 people. It's really good, and it's definitely got a draw. But as you start to mature, you start to get older, and the more combat sports you do, the more you appreciate the little things. You like the sense of taste. You like being able to smell, being able to hear, being able to see properly. And I know through the internet that many of my heroes have got permanent damage, eye gouges, so blindness. You break the jaw in the wrong place or break the nose, you can't taste or smell properly anymore. And of course, you're putting your body through it as well, not just your senses. And you get like permanent damage, broken legs, torn ACLs, MCLs, all that sort of thing. So, yeah, the older you get, the more you take a step back and look at it, you realize that maybe it's a bit too much for the human body, especially in 2026 when there are other ways to do things.
Hey, but Peter, you look like a perfect actor on stage or on screen. You look perfectly fine, no broken noses.
That's because I'm acting. I'm pretending. Oh, I'm not good. But I do have metal plates over here. I've got a couple of metal plates and screws. I can't feel half of my face very well. Cold shoulders, all sorts of things. And more recently, some knee problems. So, yeah, being humans, we're going to come across problems, and we're going to have physical issues.
I will only say one thing. Massive respect for you guys to get into that cage or arena, get yourselves mentally and physically bruised. so for so much love of the sport and the entertainment part of things.
Yeah, it's kind of a big thing. It's easy to look back and say, "Oh, it's just done, it's dusted." That was a part of my life that I really enjoyed, but I'll never forget the build-ups to the matches. We used to have to train for 3 months. We used to have to watch our diets. We used to have to do weight cuts. I mean, I'd lose from 78 or 80 kilograms thereabouts. I cut to 70.3 kg on the dot. So in 12 hours, I'd lose 8.5 kilograms or 8.5 liters of sweat.
Is that even healthy?
No, it's not particularly healthy, but it's great to see the extremities that the human body can go through. But with a sport like SCL, maybe you don't have to. So with a Shadow Combat League, you can do all the fighting. You may not have to train as hard as us, and you definitely won't have to do the weight cuts. So you're still going to have the fun, the exhilarating matches, the fights, and you're still going to get the adrenaline rush from having competed, but you're not going to get the permanent injuries that go along with it.
You just mentioned Shadow Combat League. Explain me like a 10-year-old, what is Shadow Combat League and what are you guys trying to build?
Robots fighting. That's pretty much it. That's as simple as you can boil it down to. So we've got robots. So far, we're going to be using the robots from China, the G5s, and we're later going to get hold of the T800s or whatever big robots come our way, and we're going to be having those robots duel it out. But we're also having the human element, which is the pilots. So, for example, if you and I would like to fight, we could use our SCL tokens and jump into the mocap suits and have a match. So that's very possible with SCL. So it's not going to be just your basic robots fighting. You're going to have personalities behind those robots. And I think even some of the robots are going to have their own personalities as well, much like you might even see in computer games. So there are so many different things we can inculcate into SCL, and I believe we'll even have real matches between real people ongoing at the same time. It's going to be very exciting and very fresh.
So humans represented by robots, robots fighting, entertainment. That's it, right? That's SCL.
That's SCL. But we'll throw a few cherries on top. We might have some humans and humans as well, and who knows, maybe humans and robots just for a laugh.
I was doing some research on you and I found out in an interview that you did in 2018 where you said your secret hobby is fixing mechanical and electrical items. Fast forward to 2026, you're literally the lead MMA of these humanoid robots that you guys are going to now put into arenas and cages. Did you manifest this?
I must have manifested it in some way, shape, or form. That's for sure. Now, you'll see me there with a soldering iron, upgrading our latest G5. Maybe I'll start to work on the engineering side as well, because what I need to do is I need to help make the fights exciting. What we need to do on top of making the fights exciting is seeing how far we can push our fighters, which are our robots. So we're going to see what we can do to them. We're going to find out what we can do to make them more exciting to watch and to push the limits because I'm used to pushing human limits, but with the robots, we don't have to have as much fear with it. We can push them a lot harder. There's no sanctioning body at the moment that we have to worry about.
I'm looking forward to the day when the robot starts pushing your limits.
Yes, well, I'm hoping that it'll get to that because at the moment, it's definitely going to be maybe personalities, as in like an influencer or two, maybe using mocap to have the robots run. But in the future, I hope that the athletes that we have controlling the robots are in fact athletes, and at that point, we'll have different categories, much the same as any other combat sport, where we have high level robot robot pilots with their shadows, and then we also have an influencer or to league where we have actors more casually piloting the robots to battle each other. So there's a lot of potential. There's so many ideas that you can just literally pull them out of the hat. And once you've done that, it's just time to get the ball rolling and make it happen.
Basically, what you're saying is now in this whole AI agentic world, as we have all known or been exposed to in one way or the other, we're all predicting that every human will have their own AI agentic or agent that represents them. And what you guys are saying, or what you're saying, is that every human will have their own robot personality that will actually be able to represent them in arenas or cages or sports in one way or the other.
I mean, anything is possible now. Yes, if you're saying it like that, yes, the robots we have, they may have their own personalities, and they'll be running on AI as well, and we'll be controlling them. But at that point, then we'll be more like the coaches telling the fighters what they could do or should do. But at the same time, right now, we're definitely going to be having human with robot versus a human with another robot. So yes, the primary agenda for SCL is to have our shadows shadowing the movements of our human competitors. So yeah, this is how we're going to be rolling out our first group of fights.
Hence, Shadow Combat League. Makes sense.
There are shadows, and we are the
Peter, I'm still kind of very keen to understand the back journey a little bit. From MMA to movies, how did you find yourself in this intersection of Web3, crypto, humans, and robots in this very unique intersection of what we all know is the future? But how did this come around in your journey?
lots of networking, lots of speaking to different people from different strokes of life, and coming up with plenty of ideas. I think is the main thing. And yeah, mixing with the right people, like Danny Yellow, for example, he pulled me aside and said, "Hey, would you like to work with robots with in a crypto project space?" And I said, "Yes, let's go for it." And without any hesitation, about a month later, I was knee deep in the project, trying to work out how to get the robots to move better. So yeah, it's been very fast fire and very exciting, and I think that's why SCL will do well as well, because moving with the times and moving very quickly. That's what we're doing.
That's insane.
Sure.
It's very interesting you say that because when we talk about co-founders dynamic and we're talking about a battle-tested MMA fighter and Web3 visionaries and operators, talk to me about the decision making of roadmaps. What's the decision making of these decisions on ground when it comes to MMA robots and what the project actually needs.
Everyone has their own idea about what they want SCL to be. But for me, I've got some grand ideas, but then the other guys will say, okay, hold your horses. That's not possible. And that's not what we're looking to do. At the same time, they'll say, look, we want the robots to do this, that, and so on. And I'll say to them, look, it's not possible to do that. What we can do instead of that is this. So the dynamic is that we give each other problems and we solve each other's problems. And by doing that, we basically cut out all the fluff and we get to push forward with a product or a promotion that is solid.
Very interesting. For the viewers, I just want to say this that these are not battle bots. These are actual humanoid robots, right? And the tagline is literally skill meets steel. And you guys are operating out of East World, Malaysia, which I believe is backed by Virtual's protocol. And I know that these guys have like a fleet of these robots right now. You've also teased us with some snippets behind the scene, but talk to me more about the actual tech behind it. When you put on that VR headset and motion capture suit, what is the latency like? Right? Like, are you literally shadow boxing a robot into combat?
Well, at the moment, it's still relatively early days, so we're pushing as hard as we can because we're running with the Unitree G5s. Yeah, Virtuals basically have a whole army of Unitree robots, and with their engineers, we're doing the best we can to get the latency down. We do have full mocap suits that you can jump into. Why that is good compared to just the VR headset and maybe the two animated sticks on your hands and your ankles is because the robot gets more information through. So if you're giving a robot 4 points of reference, it doesn't know how the other parts of its body are supposed to get those 4 points to that position. So we also have the mocap suits, and that helps to reduce the latency as well. So when you do that and you do move with the mocap, then yeah, the robots respond much better because they have less thought process uh, of how to get to the position that the pilots are looking for. So yeah, if you just use your basic motion controls, motion sensors, then yes, there is definitely some latency going on. But of course, as our research pushes on, we will come up with better ways of doing things. The engineered virtuals, for example, the few times that I've been there, they've been improving the latency, and they've also been improving what the robot is able to understand. So essentially, like AI learning. So we're doing what we can to get it 1 to 1. And by the time we launch, we should be on a 1 to 1 speed.
What sort of timeline are we looking at in this case scenario until you think you reach that stage?
I think we're going to be getting our own robot sometime this week or next week, as it would be. And when we have our very own robot, we're going to be able to do a lot more fiddling outside of virtuals. And with that, that means that we can uh, hone the robots to do what we want it to do. Um, it also means we can take the robot out on tour and do some meet and greets with it. But um, yeah, by the time have our own robot, we can already start to engineer it better. And yeah, I'd say within the next 6 months, we will have at least our first tournament with robots fighting and humans being the opponents. So yeah, the shadows will be live.
Very interesting, exciting times. Peter, let's talk about violence. We saw your recent lab test swinging of katanas, right? We saw your robots went and was swinging some of these swords in a movie premiere in March. If a robot locks in a submission, an armbar, and of course, how do you determine a winner when there's no blood, no pain, no sort of a tap out? How does that come around?
Snaps, it snaps. That's one way to look at it. So you see, with humans, you say, ouch, it hurts, I'm going to stop. So they'll tap. But with the robots, they're replaceable. The parts can be swapped out. So, yes, if the parts break, for example, on an armbar, then, if it snaps and breaks, that's it. It's done and dusted. But I think at the beginning, we're not going to be focusing on ground fighting. We're going to be predominantly focusing on the stand up fights because, from an entertainment perspective, generally, most people enjoy stand up fighting more. So, with that being said, if we knock the robot's head off, then okay, that robot loses.
Peter, if you were to step in the cage with one of your teleoperated robots today, who would win the fight?
I place money on myself. I place SCL tokens on myself, unless, of course, it's one of the robots, the G5s from Unitree, that did the Chinese New Year Kung Fu show. If it's one of those guys, okay, I'll place my SCL tokens on those robots. Those guys have got some very good learning patterns and seem to be very dangerous.
Very interesting. This is already very entertaining. because then I could see the future where we have these prediction markets and people are starting to sports bet on different personalities with these SCL tokens.
That's one of the things that the utilities for the SCL token. You are going to be able to use it if you're at home to place bets on whoever you think is going to win the match. So that's one thing. And then if you're at home as well, maybe you want to control some of the robots, you could use the FPL token alongside an app in order to control one of the robots. Maybe one of the robots with personality. So you already know what that robot's capable of, but you can pilot that robot from the app at home.
Absolutely. That's where the fun begins.
Because after that, the competitors can use the SCL tokens to upgrade their robots mid match as well. There's going to be a lot of stuff we add in to SCL as we go along. As new technology is revealed to us, we'll be at the forefront of utilizing.
Peter, a lot of people today have concerns over robots, right? And we all know in one way or the other, robots are here to sort of, I don't want to say, I mean, yes, to a large extent, replace humans, and they're going to have capabilities that we have not imagined. But a lot of it also comes down to the threat of the ability for robots to do things that we cannot control, right? And the ability of the robots today that you're training, how do you foresee, I'd say, risks that could come out from these robots being violent in an ideal scenario, and that can turn out to being somewhat dangerous in that environment?
Kill switches, number one. So just being able to literally control the machine. So let's take away the fact that it's a robot that can move around. It is a machine in the same way that a car um, could be a killing machine if you drive it in a reckless manner. But again, there are keys to the car. There are on and off switches. So it's the same sort of thing. But if you're talking about automated robots, AI, let's say, an automated Tesla, yes, okay. If it's going to go on a killing spree by itself, you need to have fail-safe measures. Who knows? Maybe we'll have to uh, come up with EMPs to shut the robots down if they go a little bit wayward. But those are all things that I think we'll have to look forward to in the future. I say look forward to because I hope it's going to get to the point, well, almost where the robots are that crazy that we have to use kill switches for them. Because at that point, the arenas will be even bigger. They'll be sold out, and it would definitely be the pinnacle of entertainment sports.
I can only suggest one thing, Peter. Never have the robot that you thrash in the cage by your bedside when you're asleep.
You know, I'd like him to having children and you disciplining your children. If they're intelligent enough, if you taught them enough, then hopefully they'll understand it was for their own learning and for their own betterment. And then maybe they'll be on your side and not against.
And protect you.
Yes, exactly. Don't abuse them. Just give them the tools to move forward.
Sometimes this blows your mind when you think about where this whole technology and the future is headed to. And when you and now that I'm talking to you and you're actually telling me about how these robots function, how these robots actually, what are they supposed to do, it just baffles me till date.
Yeah, there's a lot of new things happening right now in the world of robotics. So I think now is a good time to grab the ball by the horns and push on with a project like SCL. Um, so I see this as us starting right from the beginning. This is it's new. There are a couple of other promotions out there that are trying to do the same thing that we're setting out to do as well. But I can say from the get go that with the ideas we have and with what we're planning, we should be leaps and bounds ahead of the competition. And I I think that with SCL, it is Shadow Combat League. So at our core, we're always going to have our pilots and then the pilot's shadow. but around it, we understand it is sports entertainment, and the key thing that we have to do is to make SCL bouts entertaining, and that's the difficult thing, but it's also one of the things that I think we can excel at. So with our team, we're going to make sure we bring the heat to the entertainment world.
I mean, I can definitely see that, because I guess we can really you see the future of the sort of entertainment mix that you guys were bringing in with all the sort of prediction markets. And in my opinion, the opportunities are limitless, right? But as soon as you actually start building that foundational um, test case and actually start seeing these robots fight in that arena in a entertaining way with sort of a very binary outcome, that's gonna be mind blowing, right?
Indeed,
But
indeed.
talk,
It's
talking about milestones, Peter, I am curious to understand. I mean, I've seen your progress and it's March 2026, and you guys are moving insanely fast, right? The build phase is done. I mean, you have two combat validated robots. And I know you're getting you're getting more fleets this week as well. Tell us more about the journey, where you guys are at right now, and what can we expect for the next coming weeks and months?
right now. We're still pushing on, still finding our feet, so to speak. We're looking for more funding at the moment, so we can push harder, faster, right at the beginning. So, yeah, we want to be rolling out of the gates on fire, essentially. Our first match ups, we've got there's some very exciting people that we think the viewers will enjoy watching. Ready to pilot our shadows in the first matchup, and yeah, we've I think got some deals sorted out with entertainment outlets as well. So yeah, I not giving too much information away, but a lot of things are lining up for us to be able to make our first competition for SCL very, very good. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a taster for the first competition first, and yeah, it's that's going to be coming in the next month or so, I think. So as soon as the stars align, we're going to be running out and doing our first demo, and once the demo's done, and then we can just go full out and then get STL up and running at full speed. And then with that, then I think Dana wants us to push, uh, I think, 4 events by the end of this year minimum.
Exciting times. Well, I mean, if you are an investor, be it VC or angel, and want to be participating in this exciting journey of robots meets entertainment, I guess you guys know who to put on the radar now.
That's right. Yeah. So if you are looking to invest and get on one of the hottest entertainment buzzers of 2026, uh, and I believe it's going to get even bigger. The sport of MMA, that's been steadily one of the fastest growing sports for the last decade. But I think SCL is going to come across and just grab that uh, moniker, and it's going to be the fastest growing sport for sure for the next decade to come.
Absolutely, I definitely agree. And one thing I noticed as well, Peter, you've got a very big following on Instagram, right? I think north of 70,000 followers that you've built over the years based on your MMA. How do you see social media and content helping turn SCL into mainstream media, right? I mean, maybe when the likes of rivaling UFC viewership one day.
I see the way AI is right now on social media, and it gets a lot of views. Even though people say, "Oh, it's AI slop," people will still watch it. And I feel in the future, yes, it's going to be. I think, like Mark Zuckerberg said, it's going to be content produced for you on the spot because that's what humans want. But at the same time, uh, the Neanderthal in us always likes to have a bit of a fight, and then a lot of guys like machines as well. So it's fun to see robots fight, and it's more funny to get to pilot them yourselves. But I think it's going to be really entertaining to watch these robots fight. but at the same time being able to place bets on them, and also from the comfort of your own home, being able to control these things on the big stage, the international stage. So yeah, it's going to be a very exciting sport, one that can grow exponentially because there are so many different parts to it, and those parts are going to forever change. And on social media, yeah, it's going to look exciting. We're going to have some great clips from our matches. Um, we'll be using AI, of course, to advertise, much like everyone else is. But yes, social media will make a big difference. And I think that SCL will be on everyone's feed. The algorithm is going to be in our favor because SCL is going to be what people want to see.
And you have a big advantage there already because you have a very decent following at the same time.
Yes, I'm going to hopefully get to pilot one of these robots in one of the first outings, and hopefully my fan base will enjoy not watching just me fight, but having my shadow do the match for me.
Talking about fan base and talking about MMA, if you could pick one historic MMA fighter to put in a cage with your teleoperated SCL robots, who would it be and why?
I'd probably choose Bruce Lee. I mean, he's
Wow.
not a known MMA fighter, of course, Bruce Lee, but I think he was the birth of MMA. But as he passed on, his learning stopped, of course. But if you could get a robot come out that does pure Jeet Kune Do in Bruce Lee's old school style, that would be amazing. And then have AI learn other MMA fighters' styles, put it together, and create the brand new Bruce Lee. I think that'd be amazing, and that's what would be possible with SCL and AI learning as well. So I think that would be very interesting. And we just recently had Chuck Norris pass. Why not get Chuck Norris in there as well?
Wow, wow, that's interesting. No, I mean, these are childhood favorites we're talking about. I mean, Bruce Lee and yeah.
So you
I,
get to see them revitalized and to live again through the shadows. So that would be very interesting.
talking about that, what's the wildest weapon or rule tweak that you'd love to test in an SCL robot bouts?
Right now with the Unitree robots, what I'd like is I'd like a taser gun attachments. So I think that'd be quite fun. A taser gun in one hand and like a big iron glove in the other. So you tase the other robot, it would glitch out for a second, and then you can break it down with the iron fist. But
Peter,
yeah,
Peter,
it'd be
mind showing us some moves that
showing us some moves. So I'm
yeah.
just going to do the basic jab cross. There you go. But yeah, these robots to begin with, they're very good with their hands. But eventually, we're going to get them ready with elbows. We're going to get them ready with the knees and the kicks, the full set. So it's going to be very very fun. And see, that's another thing with SCL shadows. Follow whatever the pilot does. So because we do have our human element as well, um, it's not even that the robot has limitations. The human has limitations. So the human only has a certain skill set that they're able to give to the robot during the combat. So yeah, that's another thing. We're going to also have different leagues within SCL because there'll be different people wanting to do different matchups. But at the same time, what's interesting with that is you can have a pure boxer going up against a Muay Thai guy, and you can see the matches like they used to do in K1. But through the power of the robots, those guys don't get damaged, they don't get injured. Only the robots do, and you can see quite conclusively um, which style would win against which style. So yeah, it's very interesting. And there are new ideas that we come up with daily. So yeah, it's about boiling it down to the ideas that work well and are very entertaining. So yeah, I couldn't foresee in the future we'll have a voting system as well with the SCL tokens, so you can vote for what matches you want to see coming up in the future.
Peter, I want to end this on a very interesting scenario I'm going to paint for you. There's a young boy or young man watching this podcast right now, and he plays games. He's in the crypto trenches, but perhaps lacks that real life discipline that you have learned in fighting in those MMA cages. What would be the one advice that you would want to give him, to build in this intersection of a very interesting world of AI, robots, and perhaps Web3?
I'd say get out there, get fit, get physically fit, get your mind sharper, and then your tool will be sharper for your whole crypto Web3 world. So even playing games, um, being physically fit, being mentally sharp, is going to help you. So yeah, get on it. So don't forget that we're still humans, and we need to make sure that our our motors, our engine, the whole body, the mechanism works well. Because if your mechanism and engine doesn't work well, it doesn't matter what you're controlling. It's not gonna be as efficient. Not gonna be so good. So look after
Incredible.
yourself.
Absolutely. Well said. Couldn't have said it better. Peter, thank you so much. It's been a very fun conversation learning about yourself, robots, and of course, what's to come. I can't wait for the day to see this coming to life very soon and me betting on different people and personalities. Of course,
Looking
I
forward.
want to see who actually gets beaten up, whether it's you or those one of those trained robots by
Well,
yourself.
why don't we put up a fight between you and I? We'll set up a fight between you and I about using the robots. Let's see how that goes. And yeah,
Wh-
see. I'm giving you
how,
the heads up. You can go train.
how do I train it? How do I train it?
You're gonna get yourself as a pilot into a boxing gym. Learn how to do boxing, and then when you do that, you'll be ready. You can come out and spar with me. There you go. Let's go. Let's get a match up on the go.
Okay, that might be an interesting challenge to take up on for sure.
For real, it definitely would be.
Hey, and viewers of the base show, this is up for grabs as well. Maybe you bet on myself or Peter. I think that's a very easy bet right now to make. But give me a year, maybe that changes. But guys, if you want to be part of this journey, follow the X and their website that I'll put down here below as well. This is Peter Davis for you guys, MMA fighter and actor on screen, but now pioneering this venture of Shadow Combat League that you guys all should be following and supporting. But guys, don't forget to subscribe on the channel to see more based founders, builders, and entrepreneurs on our show. Until then, Sahib signing out. Cheers.